Well, tonight our terrific Monday panel is here in person. Joe Hildebrand, Andrew Carswell, so great to have you.
Together again, the Holy Trinity.
We're all here. Look, let's start with Dennis Shanahan wrote a great column on the weekend where he said that, normally at this time of year, the government would be brushing off its policy barnacles, cleaning up, the odd thing that it hasn't done. But Andrew, it is under siege at the moment. It's performed so badly in so many areas, and Dennis Shanahan goes through them. From The Voice to Qantas to Israel to cost of living crisis. I mean, it's such a contrast with the long honeymoon that the government had.
Yeah, they've effectively wasted the year from go to woe, and this should have been the year that they built a firm policy platform which would take them into what effectively could be an election year next year. But they've wasted it. And not only have they wasted it, Anthony Albanese himself has pretty much put the goodwill of the public that he had in a bin, put the accelerant on and lit a match. He's basically, it's blown up in his face. And there's some good numbers from the master builders today that said his personal numbers have gone down 37 points since May. So they're in a world of pain. But the problem they've got is, how do they get out of this? And they've got barnacles all over their boat that's weighing it down left, right and centre. They've got an industrial relations bill that they've got to get through that's basically picking a war with a cashed-up business community. That they're going to spend the next 8 months going to war with business. Is that their answer to getting themselves out of this hole?
Yeah. Look, all these different issues, Dennis argues, it ultimately comes down to Anthony Albanese's personal lack of political judgment. And Joe, now we're seeing that Labor, both federally and at a state level, is coming under siege from the Greens as well.
Yeah, I think the polls, the state Labor polls in New South Wales, and also what we're seeing happening federally, come down to a couple of things. One is there's a cost of living crisis that is really starting to bite. People thought the worst was behind them, and then suddenly they get hit with another increase on Cup Day when everyone's meant to be having fun and losing money in a different way, and the prospect even being raised of further increases down the track. And that makes people suddenly far less forgiving of mistakes that the government makes, even in other unrelated areas. I think The Voice was obviously, I mean, I've spoken ad nauseum about this. It was an awfully run campaign. It was a sloppy, ill-disciplined, confused campaign. It was, in fact, two campaigns that weren't even talking to each other, running different messages. It didn't know what it thought. It didn't know who it was targeting. It was just, frankly, embarrassing. But having said that, the government is going to drop that like a hot potato. It is going to move on to other things. I think that will be a lesson for Anthony Albanese, who I think after the numbers he got after, let's face it, just getting in thanks to some pretty weird WA seats on election night, then having that massive, unprecedented once-in-a-century win, the Aston by-election.
Overconfident.
Albo, I think, can be overconfident at times, and I think he was overconfident with The Voice and has been overconfident on his ability to handle other issues when people are really hurting and suffering. And so I think and hope that the failure of The Voice and the cooling of these numbers will make him think, all right, maybe I've got to be a bit more sensible.